Right now, you believe something that is completely false. And the worst part? Your brain is physically incapable of deleting it. I'm not talking about being fooled once and moving on. I'm talking about a permanent biological change inside your skull. Every single time you consume misinformation, neuroscientists call it the continued influence effect. And once you understand what it does, you will never look at your phone the same way again. Here's what everyone gets wrong about misinformation. They think it works like this: you hear something false, someone corrects you, you update your belief, and you move on. Clean, simple, done. That is not how your brain works, not even close. Your brain is not a hard drive where you can find a bad file, drag it to the trash, and empty it. Your brain is more like wet cement. The moment misinformation lands, it starts setting. In 2012, researchers at the University of Western Australia ran a study. They told participants a false story, a warehouse fire caused by negligence. Then they explicitly corrected it. They told people that detail was wrong. The fire had nothing to do with negligence. You know what happened? When people were asked to recall the story later, they kept using the false information to answer questions, even when they consciously remembered the correction. Not because they were stupid, because that is what brains do. Every time you process a piece of information, true or false, your brain forms a memory trace. It builds connections. It links that information to everything you already know. And the correction forms its own separate memory trace. It doesn't overwrite the first one. It just sits there, competing. And under pressure, when you're tired, distracted, stressed, or scrolling at midnight, your brain defaults to the stronger trace, the first one, the false one. But here's where it gets genuinely scary. Misinformation doesn't just live in your memory, it rewires what you believe about yourself. Psychologists call this identity protective cognition. When a piece of false information aligns with how you see yourself, your politics, your values, your community, your brain assigns it emotional weight. It becomes part of who you are. And here's the brutal part. When that information gets corrected, your brain doesn't process it as new information. It processes it as an attack. The same neural pathways that activate when your physical safety is threatened, they activate when your beliefs are challenged. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear, lights up. Your cortisol spikes. You go into a defensive crouch. Physiologically, this is why facts don't change minds. This is why people double down harder after being shown evidence they were wrong. This isn't stubbornness. This isn't stupidity. This is biology doing exactly what it evolved to do, protecting the tribe from threats. The problem is, our tribe is now the internet, and the threats are algorithmically designed to feel as real as a predator. Here's something most people don't realize about how misinformation spreads. It's not that people are gullible. It's that the platforms you use every single day are optimized to serve you content that produces the strongest emotional response. And false information, specifically false information that confirms what you already fear or believe, produces a stronger emotional response than accurate information. Consistently. Your brain is running on hardware that evolved 200,000 years ago. You were built to believe what your tribe told you, to stay alert to threats, to act fast in a crisis. The algorithm knows this, not because it's evil, because it's optimizing for engagement. And engagement is what makes you feel something. And what makes you feel the most is things that threaten your world. So every day, billions of people are fed a steady stream of information, specifically calibrated to feel threatening, to feel urgent, to feel true, whether it is or not. Now, here's the part that keeps cognitive scientists up at night. There is a concept called epistemic collapse. Epistemic from the Greek, meaning knowledge, how we know what we know. When a population is bombarded with misinformation long enough, something shifts. People don't just start believing the wrong things. They stop believing anything. They become what researchers call epistemically defeated, not convinced of a false reality, but convinced that reality itself is unknowable, that all information is biased, that experts are bought, that truth is just whatever your side says it is. This is not a hypothetical. This is a documented playbook used by authoritarian governments, used by disinformation campaigns, and increasingly happening by accident, simply through the volume and velocity of conflicting information we're all drowning in. When people don't know what to believe, they become easy to lead. They stop asking questions. They outsource their thinking to whoever feels most confident, most familiar, most like them. And here's the part that should terrify you most. You are not immune to this. Neither am I. High intelligence doesn't protect you. In fact, research suggests that smarter people are better at rationalizing false beliefs once they've taken hold. They construct more sophisticated defenses. The armor is not IQ. The armor is something else entirely. So, what actually works? The first thing scientists agree on is called lateral reading. Not reading deeper into an article, reading sideways. The moment you encounter a claim, you open new tabs. You check who's behind the source. You see what other credible outlets say about it. Investigators at the Stanford History Education Group did this in under 90 seconds, and trained readers using this single technique outperformed PhD historians and professional fact-checkers. The people who are hardest to fool aren't the ones who research for hours. They're the ones who developed the reflex of leaving the page immediately. The second thing is simpler than you'd expect. Slow down at moments of strong emotion. When you feel a surge of anger, satisfaction, or disgust at a piece of content, that emotional spike is a signal. Not necessarily that the content is false, but that your defenses are down and you're at your most susceptible. The Stanford Internet Observatory found that simply prompting people to ask, "Is this accurate?" before sharing reduced the spread of false information by up to 51%. Not a course, not a tool, just a pause. And the third, this one is counterintuitive. It's called inoculation. Psychologists at Cambridge developed a technique called prebunking. The idea is this: if you expose people to a weakened version of a manipulation technique before they encounter it at full strength, they build cognitive antibodies, exactly like a vaccine. Show people how an emotional appeal is constructed. Show them the trick before the con artist uses it. Their brain recognizes the pattern and flags it. People pre-bunked against fake experts, false balance, or emotional manipulation retained their resistance weeks later, and were significantly harder to mislead even with brand new false claims they had never seen before. So, let me bring this back to where we started. Right now, you believe something that is completely false. That's still true. For me. For you. For the most skeptical person watching this. The goal was never to make you trust nothing. The goal is to make you aware that your brain has vulnerabilities, biological, predictable, exploitable, and that the information environment around you is designed, intentionally or not, to use them against you. The people who navigate this best are not the ones who are certain. They're the ones who are comfortable being uncertain, who ask how they know something, not just what they know, who treat their own confidence as something worth questioning. You now know more about what misinformation does to the human brain than 99% of the people you'll talk to today. Use it. A 2018 MIT study analyzed 126,000 stories over 10 years. False news spread 6 times faster than true news. It reached 20 times more people. And the biggest amplifier? Not bots. Not foreign troll farms. Real people. People who genuinely believed what they were sharing.